Yo, yo. What is good, everybody? It is Rapture in the house. I will be live shortly. Just bear with me a moment. Just getting a few things sent out. Throw the BTC weekly chart up for you so you can see it while I get a few things done in the background. Oh. Just bear with me a moment while I get this stuff sent out. Let that beat drop again. How's the volume levels, by the way? Ooh, I just switched streaming platforms and I'm getting used to the workflow. Does not look like it has a loop feature. Oh, there it is. There's loop. Gotta click it on. Apologies. I will be with you lads in a moment. Just bear with me. Okay, I have that sent out. Let me turn this volume down. How is the volume, by the way? How's my mic level? How's the music level? I'm just trying to, I just switched from StreamYard to Restream for streaming platforms. There's a couple things that I can do with it better on the back end and for doing some content repurposing in the future. I see my boy Munar in the chat. GM Munar, how are you doing, my dude? GM. Sorry, I do apologize. I should have done a little bit more testing before I fired up the stream, but it is what it is. It's mostly similar to StreamYard. I'm just figuring out a few back-end things. Oh. It looks like we're good. I think I just need to turn this down a smidge. A smidge? Who the fuck says smidge, bro? There we go. How's my mic volume? Anyone in the chat, can you let me know if the microphone volume is good? And we'll get underway. Looks like I can just do this and boom. Oh, I'm not on there. Why am I not on there? There we go. Oh, hello, GM. It is Rapture. Got the chat visible. Okay, digging this platform actually. Should do me well moving forward. Again, microphone check, 1, 2, 1, 2. How is the volume for the microphone? How is the volume for the music? Is the music in your face or is it quiet enough in the background? All that stuff. And I will get this underway. It's been a couple weeks. Rap, where you been? Rapture, where you been? I had some stuff happen in life that I needed to take care of. Not happen, it wasn't a negative. I just got super busy in the real world. And just decided to shift my focus towards that. Like anyone that's been with me for a while knows, like when I do something, I put the full weight of my focus behind it rather than half-assing. so that I can do things properly. I've found that the older that I get, when I want to do focus work, I need to just be all in on that. And there's some stuff in the real world I needed to take care of. I needed to get done. I needed to handle my BI, handle my business. So it took my focus. That's fine. But I do apologize for my extended absence. But I'm back. Let's pull this up. And here we go. I want to welcome you all to Rapture's Scalp and Swing Sessions, number 21, live perps trading and analysis for little lunch levels. We do a little lunch levels today. It's been a minute. I know yesterday we had the weekly close. I debated doing the weekly close show, but I had a few drinks on my Sunday, chilling and relaxing with my family, because I knew that this week was going to be getting back into hyper gear, back into heavy work mode, heavy focus mode. So I was just enjoying that downtime. But we're back today. We're going to take a look at our high time frame levels, discuss some strategy. We're going to look at BTC, ETH, and Sol. We may even take a look at my high time frame Swing Screener Pro, my screener suite, to take a look and see if there were some juicy weekly SFPs that took place. And don't forget that if you're looking for a place to trade perps, then consider joining the good folks over at BingX. Use code Rapture on sign up for bonuses, bingx.com. Chaz157, what's good, Chaz? Hey, he's back. What's up, G? What's good? How are you, my dude? Yes, I am back. I'm going to be back with a vengeance. I plan on going into super focus mode. I know I spoke about a few weeks back before I took my little leave that I was going to be upping the content. I was doing a lot of stuff, building in the background, getting close to rolling more of that stuff out. And that was a part of why I was also taking the extended time off to get all that done. It was just taking up so much of my time and occupying so much of my focus and my bandwidth. You know, I'm a big supporter or big believer in there's two ways that you can approach things in life. There's two ways that people go about doing things. There's one approach where it's taken from a position of motivation, where you have to find motivation to do stuff, and you're motivated. And like I feel like that falls into the category of like New Year's resolutions and short-term goals that never actually materialize, right? Like it's a big push in the beginning and then it just sort of fizzles out. And I look at motivation as it's a pushing action, where to get motivated or be motivated, you have to push yourself to do something. And the other side of that, the more sustainable and powerful, at least in my view, way of getting shit done is to be obsessed about something. For something to grab you and you just to be obsessed with it so much that you immerse your entire thought process, like your every waking moment goes into that. And it just rather than pushing yourself, which is what motivation requires, obsession pulls you. It's like, okay, I woke up and it's the first thing I think about. It's all I want to do all day long is just like figure this shit out. Do it, be focused on it. And when you go to bed, it's the last thing you're doing. That's where that obsession is. It's pulling you. It's like a calling. It's like grabs you deep inside of your core and pulls you forward and kicks your butt towards getting shit done, because it becomes a part of your personality. You're just so, like I said, obsessed with it, right? And there's been things going on in the world that have, especially with what technology is enabling now, that have been giving me that obsession back. And it actually kind of reminds me back to 2021, 22, when I first was really going balls deep into crypto. And just like that pure obsession where I would stay up all night long, just like researching and doing and testing and trying. And then I got that way with trading. and learning a strategy and a system. Like I just got obsessed with it. And I've found something that is giving me that obsession again lately. And I've been working on stuff in the background just to make my life better and more focused and more, what's the word I'm looking for? Productive with my time, and to maximize time and to have tools and systems working for me and with me as digital business partners. And I'm sure you can all put it together, like the words that I'm using and stuff that I'm talking about. It's very AI centric. I was very resistant to AI for a long time. Very resistant to it. I didn't like the privacy angle. Like I've been historically and naturally a very private person, in real life and also digitally. But then I started to see what we can do with these tools now, and taking it beyond just being a glorified chat bot and a glorified search engine to actually where it can be used as systems in your day-to-day process, cutting down time, giving you the information when you need it, alerting you to things, getting things done and built, all kinds of cool shit. And that's where my head's been at. Like deep down into it, like very much obsessed the way that I was when I first got obsessed with crypto back in 2021. Was it 2021 or was it 2020? Fuck, it was so long ago. It was end of 2020. That's when it was. End of 2020 when I first started getting obsessed with crypto. Wow, that's 5-6 years ago already. Insane. Anyways, enough of that rant. We're here for some lunch levels. I know you guys want to see the charts. That's why we're here. Welcome. I appreciate everyone that has stuck with me through my little hiatus and who is now here joining me back for this first live stream session back. Rapture, Scalp, and Swing Sessions number 21. We hit 20 and then Rapture went on a break for 2 weeks, like a full 2 weeks. The last one we did was a weekly close show 2 Sundays ago. So we're here on day 15 since I took a little hiatus, which is, wasn't that crazy. I was going hard. And like I said, I just got super obsessed. But it's now I'm getting to a place where I can take that obsession and the systems are sort of starting to work for me, that I can get back to the focus on the trading component, because that's a big part of my business is trading. And a big part of my life. So I wanted to, I took the time to build the things that can help everything else, the trading, the content, business growth, figuring out new directions, So I took that time. It was necessary, but from here, I'll be able to be a lot more frequent with posting. Not necessarily on the streams. 3 times a week is already a lot, but more focused, like short form content, and some other things that I'm working on. So there we go. That's that. There's Rap's rant over. Welcome, everyone. I appreciate you all. Let's dive into this. We've now gone over this. We know what's happening. Man, I do like the way that this Restream platform looks. It's just a little bit cleaner, a little bit sleeker, a little bit more polished than StreamYard. StreamYard was good, but I had been looking through conversations with my agents. Fucking wild world we're living in. I figured out that I needed a platform that allowed me to do a little bit more. So here we are. Enough of that. Let's move on. Let's pull out the BTC weekly chart. I'm also going to change this music up because it's getting to be a bit much now. What should we switch it up to? Let's switch it up to something. Now, how am I going to do with the volume? Okay, it keeps the volume that it was at. All right, that's good. That's good. Awesome. Oh, There we go. So what do we got here? We got the BTC weekly chart. Apologies, I was just typing something. Gotta recenter all the focus. Oh, I'm back on the streams. It's been a minute. It's like, it's like riding a bike. You pick it up and you figure it out really quickly, but it still takes a moment of just getting back into the groove. Help support growth. There we go. Okay. Pull up the chat, see if there's been any comments. Activation leads to motivation. You have to do. You can't just talk about it. You got to be about it. You got to do shit, right? You can talk all you want, but unless you put wheels in motion and you put energy and effort behind something, nothing's going to happen. So what do we got here? The BTC weekly chart. Ooh, okay. So nothing to update on our high time frame monthly and weekly levels, right? We're still, look at that monthly level continues to be a cap so far. I still want us to tag this monthly level down here, but I can't be married to that if it's just not going to happen. Who knows? I mean, overall, given, we pointed out a few weeks back that we broke monthly structure, which was a new development in the BTC chart history, right? For a lower low on monthly. It had never happened before. So any move up, I'm still, expecting a lower high before lower, but I'm not going to try and be married to that. On weekly, there's nothing else to change. The only thing that I do see is right here. We closed last week as a weekly SFP. So let's just mark that off. There is a weekly SFP and already a gnarly move once it tagged that level and into that weekly range quarter. You see how those range quarters, those weekly range quarters are important. Well, we can see how it acted as resistance up into their supply, also into a weekly fair value gap. We spoke about this last time we were live about, do I mark out fair value gaps? Am I using fair value gaps? And I said it bluntly. I was like, you know what? I'm not really marking them out that much anymore. But we can see there. It's a bit muted. Maybe I should make it a bit darker or brighter would be the word. Can you see that now? Yeah. There is a weekly fair value gap there that we had a weekly SFP into. But I did mention, I don't really mark out fair value gaps or order blocks style supply and demand as much anymore. I'm more just about breakers because that's giving me the actual setup. Well, we had a weekly SFP there. And we closed as a bearish weekly SFP. Let's move down. Well, you can see, look, I mentioned in the Telegram, by the way, if you're not a subscriber to my Telegram channel, Rapture's Tradebook, it is a free, open, public Telegram channel where I share charts more frequently, although I have been MIA from there too. Not just on the live streams. I've been MIA across all channels for the last 2 weeks, but that stops today. If you want to become a subscriber, just find the link in the description to this video on YouTube, Rapture's Tradebook on Telegram, or if you're joining on Twitter, you can find the link in my bio. And I mentioned in the Telegram, was it this morning or last night even, that I haven't updated my charts in a minute. I haven't been participating in the market in, pretty much the last 2 weeks. I just took my foot off the gas to get my other shit handled. And look, the chart has not been updated. I can see immediately though that our MSB level that we'd had marked out since February 4th, when we closed below it here, look at exactly where we tagged into. That would have been a sweet short, but unfortunately my ass was not paying attention. So immediately what I can see, let's move this because it's in my way. Immediately what I can see, our primary daily range, swing high to swing low, bearish daily range, swing high to swing low, has not changed. It's still intact. I can see we even took out and tagged into this daily supply here, right? That order block style supply demand right there, into there. We took out that supply as we tagged that high time frame level. Let me circle back for a moment, and here's a good teaching opportunity, a good thing to learn from. Why I say that I don't really mark out supply and demand zones as much anymore, those order block style. While I do find them useful and have found them useful in the past, what they are is a target zone to draw your focus and so that you know when you get somewhere to a certain area that's you're looking for. In this case of supply, you're hunting shorts, and in the case of demand, you'd be hunting longs. It is a great mechanism. If when price gets somewhere, you forget or you struggle to remember what you were trying to do there. Why I don't mark them out anymore as much is because my focus is just on high time frame horizontal levels. Right, this level right here, this MSB level here, this blue line has been marked out since February. Well, in fact, it would have been marked out once this swing low was created. So once this candle closed here, it's been marked out since February 2nd. This line, it wouldn't have been an MSB line at that point. It would have just been an internal swing level like these thin purple lines. And then it switched to an MSB, and I just changed the template once it did that. But point being, I don't draw the supply or demand order block style zones as much anymore because the horizontals are what's key for me. Right? All you needed was that level. Now, yes, we do the internal levels along the way that we're hunting reactions off of, but right? Extend that across. Now, there's our primary daily BTC range. It is a bearish range. There's the market structure break level. Now, there's a lot going on here that we can clean up, right? Do we keep that one? It looks like it's been so important across. I think we keep that, even though realistically what's important here is that monthly level, right? Like that's where we're seeing all this interaction around. Yeah, I think boom, get rid of that. We can get rid of this. We can keep this because this looks like it may still be important. We have these down here, right? We're just starting to tidy up some levels. Just starting to tidy up some levels. This is that weekly SFP right here into that daily level, right? So we had a weekly SFP with a daily SFP into that level. You know, what can I see here? I see a daily bearish breaker, right? This is the swing low that created that weekly SFP. Let me say that again. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's what I want. This is the daily swing low, right? If you can't see that, let's zoom right in. Let's zoom in so you guys can see it. Right here. This is the daily swing low. Why is it so? Like, I know people sometimes get confused. Like it's a green, or in my case, a neon blue, Miami blue bullish candle. How can that be a swing low? Well, you had to think about how a candle forms, right? And for a bullish candle, the low prints before the high. Let me say that again. For a bullish candle, the low prints before the high, which means that this level right here, which is clearly a swing low, how can I tell you that definitively? Well, look, we'll highlight this candle and we're going to look here at the low, right? We're going to highlight that candle. What does the low say? 70,342.7. What does this low say? 70,256, right? Swing low. This one is clearly higher. This is the swing low that created the wick of the weekly SFP. This is the lower time frame swing low that created that. That's why that's boxed out, and that's a daily bearish breaker confirmed, right? We confirmed it when we closed below here. Ooh, and look at that. You had a beautiful retest the next day and a good short. You following along with me here, lads? This is the swing low on daily time frame, which is an acceptable lower time frame when we're talking about a weekly SFP. All right, let's zoom right out again. Oh, let's put this to daily and below. This is the weekly SFP. This is what we're talking about right here. This is the wick of the weekly SFP. When I say things like that, when I say the wick of the high time frame SFP, this is exactly what I mean. This is the wick of the high time frame SFP on daily, which is an acceptable lower time frame from weekly. This is the swing low that creates that wick of the weekly SFP right here, right? Like this is the weekly SFP level, this gray line here, right? This is the weekly SFP right there, this line right here. Very close alignment to that weekly range quarter as well as we can see. This is the weekly SFP right here. When it goes up here, this is what created that move. You get a lot of people bullish buying here underwater once you close below. Now, yes, there's a lot of people here still in the money, right? That bought here that are still in the money while we sit here. So it would be even, you know, there'd be a lot more underwater if we close below here. But for now, this is what we have. This is the weekly SFP shown on daily time frame, making this supply our bearish daily breaker, which has been confirmed when you close below here. See how it retested, tagged that monthly level, and was a short. Now, I think you're still hunting shorts in here now. I know there's like the whole geopolitical headwinds and tailwinds, right? Like Trump just tweeted some shit today like, hey, just jokes. We're going to put a 5-day moratorium on attacks and whatever. I tried to trade the chart in isolation. Yes, you want to be cognizant and aware of headline risk, but for me, truthfully, I more care about what the price is telling me and what those interactions look like, right? You guys know me by now. I'm not looking for multi-day, multi-week holds. I'm an intraday trader. So I want that trade that's taking place today to be high probability. Chaz says, do you count it an SFP if the candle beside hasn't closed yet, like the weekly? So this is why different timeframes are your friend. Because, yes, when this closed below here on daily, that weekly candle had not closed yet, right? This is Thursday. This was Thursday. So the weekly candle is still forming, and it didn't close until here, right? When you get something like a daily confirmed break, right? Like the higher the time frame, the higher the signal. So once you put in a daily bearish breaker off of that still in progress weekly SFP, your probability that you can be hunting for that short goes up. Now, one other thing we can do too, though, is also, okay, we had that MSB level, that SFP'd on daily, right? SFP'd on daily. Like, this is where we can get that inception going on, right? Like, yes, you want to be stacking probability in your favor, and you want, ideally, an SFP to be confirmed. But A lot of the times that's going to mean you're getting on board the trade late, and I'm all about getting on board the trade as quickly as possible early into the turn, but also being nimble to cut as appropriate or as necessary if it starts to go against me. So what we can look at here, I know we're jumping ahead and we're like digging into like actual trade mechanics rather than just looking at our high time frame levels. That's fine. So what we can do is here, okay, there was the H12, but it was the same level. That was the confirmed breaker, right? We can drop it down even more. So we do have, look at all these levels. We got to clean up a lot of shit today, lads. This is gnarly. We got to clean up a lot of shit today. Don't focus on that right now. We also have the confirmed H4 right here. I'm going to close below here. Trouble with that is it never revisited, right? There was the H4, right? Weekly SFP, H4 bullish bearish breaker confirmed. It has yet to retest it. You know, it's a high probability that you're looking for a short once it does. But you know, you just got to kind of move down the time frames to see what you have. And there it was on hourly, right? Weekly SFP on hourly time frame. That's the wick of the SFP. Closed below, retested into it, even gave you an H1 SFP into that hourly bearish breaker right there. All right, you see that right there. There was an hourly SFP into the H1 bearish breaker after the weekly SFP. No, the weekly SFP wasn't confirmed, but you're letting price action tell you what it wants to do. A market structure break after taking out a high time frame level, market structure break, that, you know what that reminds me of is, this is going to age me, but that episode of, there's an episode of Seinfeld where they're talking about rye bread, right? Rye bread instead of rye bread, right? It's like the inflection you put on the words. Sorry, that just sidetracked me there. Yes, when you're here, the weekly SFP is not confirmed, but you're letting price tell you something, right? It's telling you a story that, okay, we've put it in H1 market structure break after taking out a high time frame level, both this weekly level here, a monthly level, a daily level, the market structure break level, right? The old market structure break level. Well, you've taken out a bunch of levels, closed below them, flipping structure on the hourly. Well, then you're looking for the setup within that, right? And there was pretty clean, right? H1 SFP into the bearish H1 breaker. You could even inception that shit even further if you wanted to, right? Like, say you're like, okay, I don't know. What am I doing? Is it actually a reversal here? Well, then you had that M15 bearish breaker forming that H1 SFP, right? It's the same thing that we were just talking about on weekly, where it was weekly SFP, but we're looking at the higher time frame daily breaker that took place. Well, here, there's an H1 SFP with an M15 breaker, closed below, retested into it, boom. Right? And it's something I should point out. When you're doing the, like, I'm definitely coining the inception trade, the inception setup. It's a Rapture original, the inception trade. Rapture's inception strategy. It's got a nice hook to it. I have to figure out how I can incorporate that more into my branding. When you're doing the inception strategy, all right, so what do we have? We have the high time frame signal. That's the weekly SFP. We have the mid time frame setup. In this case, it's an hourly breaker confirmed with the close below. Then you have the mid time frame signal being the hourly SFP within the hourly breaker. So that's inception stage 3, right? Then within that, you have an M15 bearish breaker. You just, once you get to that level of inception, when you're on the 4th layer, I stop needing extra confirmation, right? It gets to a point where you have to just say to yourself, you're either fucking taking the trade or you're not. And no amount of confirmation, if you keep needing layer on top of layer on top of layer beyond that, there's no level of confirmation that's going to convince you to take the trade. That's a you situation that you need to figure out the psychological component on that. To anyone experiencing that, right? Like beyond 4 levels, when you get this, you just bid the side of the box, right? You set a limit order, you either put your stop here or your stop here if you want to be super tight with it. But what I would do is I would hard stop here, manual stop if you start getting price action through here that doesn't favor your setup, and you can reevaluate. You lose basically nothing. But your entry is super tight. Chaz asks, do you only count it as a breaker if there's an SFP on the swing before? It doesn't have to be an SFP. It can also just be a sweep. And I know that maybe needs more clarity because some people may not know the difference between an SFP and the difference between a sweep. We can walk through that really quickly right now. Why did that just do that? So let's zoom right in here. I'll show you exactly right now the difference between an SFP or a sweep. This is an SFP, a swing failure pattern. There's a swing high, price got violated, closing back within the range of that SFP. This weekly range quarter here, that's just a sweep. That's a level sweep. Because there is no swing level there. It's just a level sweep. Same thing here on that level, right? That's a sweep. Same thing here. This is a sweep, although there was an SFP there, right? That's this is a good exercise to really quickly highlight the difference between an SFP or a sweep. Because, what just happened? In both of these instances, we can see the SFP and a sweep. The SFP and a sweep. Now, to get specific to your question, I will play a breaker off of a sweep the same as an SFP. The one caveat being, the sweep level needs to be high time frame, and usually a higher time frame than just an H4. Like it needs to be like a daily or a weekly or a monthly level as a sweep. Otherwise, I prefer it to be not necessarily an untapped swing level, because in my experience, swing highs or lows can be swept multiple times, right? Like there's the camp that it's just a liquidity hunt. There's the camp that is just supply or resistance, like natural psychological supply or resistance. I lay somewhere in the middle between those two, that it's liquidity getting grabbed, but the same level can act as the same area multiple times. And I see it happen time and time again. So let's just say, okay, let's take what's happening right now here off this monthly level. We have a weekly possible sweep taking place right here. What would I do here to set up a breaker if it's not an SFP? Let's just start going down time frames and see what we have here. So this is going to require super low time frame. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place here, and we need to get back to our high time frame levels. But you know what's first session back, it's probably going to be a little bit like this anyways, right? Interesting here, we had an H12 SFP there, but we're trying to find what's happening right here. So let's just drill right down and see what we got. Okay, here we go. You can play a sweep the same. Only thing I will say right now though is, like, as you asked before, like, does it matter if the candle's closed yet or not? We're day one into a week. Like, we're still in the first day of a weekly candle into a monthly level. I don't know that this is a very reliable setup right now. But there's your M15. There's the weekly sweep on M15, right? We've swept that level. just disregard this as a SFP, right? Like we're taking out this thick, girthy, monthly gray level. There's the M15 swing low that creates that sweep, close below. This is potential supply. I don't love this setup right now, especially, okay, let's put some color. Let's add some color. Why do I not like this setup right now? Well, first of all, we're day one into a weekly candle off of a monthly level. 2, it's Monday. Price usually likes to fill out a range, and I like to usually let that figure itself out a little bit more than just diving into trying to take a setup, especially in the middle of the day on a Monday when there's a lot of geopolitical, like there's a lot of factors at play here. And I know I say just trade the chart in front of you, but those factors are a thing. All right, and we can see this breaker here. Why is this a breaker? Let me walk you through it one more time. This is the swing low that creates that sweep. Now, could this end up being like the Pico short for the day? It's very possible. I'm just not interested in taking this right now. Let's see what took place in hourly though, right? Like, I am seeing here, right? You had an H1 SFP there into that weekly sweep or into that monthly sweep level, right? You start layering things, you know, like, okay, well, you do in fact just have an H1 M15 setup here, right? H1 SFP, M15 bearish breaker. What I would prefer here though, rather than just jumping into this, look on M15 or M5 for signs of an SFP up into here within this breaker. I'm not saying take this trade. I'm not taking this trade right now. I'll be completely upfront. I'm still trying to get my bearings and get a good understanding of my high time frame levels and see where we're at. A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks since I've been MIA. And I'm in no rush to fire off a trade. But what you would do here, and you know, maybe as the price action develops over the course of the day, maybe this becomes more viable, is look for an M5 or M15 bearish SFP within this breaker. And then just enter off that. All right, like let's even see H4. What's going on here on H4? Now, what I do see on H4 is we have put in H4 SFP, right? And we're going to get out to all these levels. Let me get back to the levels. Let's get back to the high time frame levels and clean up our chart, because we did get a bit of sidetracked there. That's fair enough. Ask questions away. Please ask questions as they come to you. But there we can see H4 SFP into that monthly level that's getting swept. Now we can say to ourselves, okay, now this setup has a little bit more weight behind it. We can see exactly where we're rejecting off of that H4 SFP level. We're inside of this M15 breaker, off of the H4 SFP and monthly sweep level. I would still prefer to have, you know, give me an M5 SFP in here. Give me an M15 SFP in here. Was that an SFP? Yeah, it might have been. You know, on this template, I don't have, let's see what the averages are saying. Ooh, we're right into the H4 and H4 EMA 250 right here. Interesting spot, actually. You know, there's some levels of confluence taking place right into here. We'll leave that marked out. We'll leave that marked out, and we'll come back to it in a little bit to see what happens, right? Because this could just, sometimes you just need some fact-finding missions. You got to send out your recon guys. You need to send out your recon troops to figure out what's going on and to see how reliable things are trading, right? Like I said, I've been out of the market for about 2 weeks, so my alignment and my sync with the market isn't like dialed just yet. It'll get there pretty quickly, you know, like after today's session, getting my levels marked up, I'll be pretty sound. Where are we at? 48 minutes. Okay, we're going to come back and take a look at this before this session ends. Now, let's go back to daily, see what we had going on here. So there's some stuff we can clean up here. This was that. Is that the H1 breaker? Yeah. So let's get rid of this for now. Let's get rid of all this stuff here. We're not focused on that. Okay, so what did we have? Where were we before we went on that detour? Hopefully that makes sense to you, Ches. Again, please ask away if you have other questions about it. Bearish daily breaker after the weekly SFP and the daily SFPs in there into that monthly level. Are there other daily levels here that we might want to take a look at to mark out? Not really that I'm seeing. We can get rid of this weekly SFP level because that was old, that we were just demonstrating something with, right? Let's go down now to H12. Oof, we need to clean this up. Jesus. Okay, so what do I see immediately? Right here. H12 SFP within the daily bearish breaker into that monthly level. Seems important, right? Let's just start moving our levels around. Fix some of these up. Actually, where was that? Where was that before? Was that? No. Okay. All right, we're going to start doing what we've been doing. Just because it's been a few weeks doesn't mean we don't do the same things we've been doing. Get rid of that. Okay, so there's our H12 levels. I mean, it looks like that was important. But we want to start cleaning this up. We had too many levels going on. There's H12. Right? Like, oof. Jesus. Jesus. Let's clean this up. Look at that. Look at that. Right into that. Interesting. Let's clean some of these up, right? Like when they're clustered around these weekly and monthly levels, let's just clean them up. Let's get into a better habit of cleaning those up. I started leaving, you know, it's what is a big benefit to taking a few weeks off and stepping off, clearing your head out of hyper focus, is when you come back, you can start to be like, whoa, bro, you're getting a little too deep in the weeds there. I know my big thing is about having those levels prepared and ready so that when price, if and or when price gets to one, you can monitor the interactions and decide whether you have a trade there or not. When we're clustered into those weekly or monthly levels, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. Oh, look at that though. Look at that. Even that. Okay. We'll get rid of that. That was a clean AF sweep. So Chaz, you were asking like about SFPs versus sweeps. Like here, this would be considered a sweep and not an SFP because it's not an untapped swing level. You had candle body closes through it, but like that's a clean sweep. Excuse me. All right, it came in and tagged that. Probably could have gotten super tight given how close that was in. Let's take a look and see what happened here. So this is that sweep. There's your M5 bearish breaker. Close above. Right, closed above, confirmed the bearish breaker. SFPs into that breaker. And we can all see what happened after that. Let's go back over here to H4. What are we cleaning up here? this level continues to be important, right? Like, you can see how important that level was. So we're going to leave that one. I think we can also, well, this one's being important right now. I think we could also probably say to ourselves, if price gets back up here, this is probably going to be important. Probably just get rid of this because we can see that that monthly level is doing what it's trying to do, but we're interacting with this H4 level here. This is, I think we get rid of this because we now have that swing low on H12, right? That's an H12 swing low. Yep. We might keep this here on H4 though. Okay, there we go. There's our updated BTC chart with relevant monthly, weekly, daily H12 and H4 levels, horizontal levels marked out. Don't worry, I will share the chart in the Telegram so that you guys can extract those levels to your own charts. The H4 level that price swept, why did you have that one marked? I didn't see that myself. It was just an old H4 level, right? We're talking about, it was here, right? It was this level here. That's why I do all those old, I leave a lot of historic levels, right? You can see it was here. And you can see how I govern or how I decide whether I keep a level or not is just, what did the interaction look like at that level? Lost it, interacted with it a bunch, lost it again, recaptured it. As soon as it closed above it, retagged it before sending, which means there's just a lot of liquidity sitting in here, right? People, the guy, like, you have to think of a chart as a battle. It's a battle between bulls and bears. And in these choppy, tight consolidation is where the battle gets a little bit more intense. And eventually, one side won out, right? Like, bears thought they won here, and then bulls fucking flipped it on them and recaptured that whole thing and then did a decent push up. They won those few days. Well, when you get price returning there, there's a few things that are going to take place. You're going to have people that were long from here trying to protect that by doubling down on their position. Not specific dollar term, like the position size doubling down. I just mean they're going to be trying to protect their longs. As well, you have people that were either patient waiting for a retest, or that were feeling levels of FOMO that didn't buy because they're pussies. Not seriously, but you know what I mean. Like, seeing it go up, giving you lots of opportunity to get in, that it didn't, that it finally comes down and they're like, you know what, this looks like a good spot. Like, there's just different psychological things that go into a level, right? So how you have to look at a chart, truthfully, it's just human psychology. What is the psychology behind it? Yes, you can say flows. And what are the flows looking like? But there's people behind those flows, right? And even if it's institutional flow or whatever, there's a psychological component. Well, retesting into a cluster like that has a high probability of a reaction. So when you get a level that gets a lot of interactions, it typically means in the future you want to keep an eye out for that. And we had that sweep into there, as well as that level there. Like, you can see, like, there's a lot that was going on here. Multiple levels that were important, retested into them, swept them, gave a good reaction. I'm going to get rid of this one now, though, because if it comes back down into there, likelihood is it actually takes out this new one. Do we get rid of this one? I don't think so. Okay, there's our H4 levels. Lots to work with, lots of levels to go off of. And like we said, right, we pointed that one out there. We do have this bearish M15 breaker off of this H4 SFP level here into the monthly sweep. But there's a lot going on here levels wise. especially after a headline makes people think that, oh, things are going to get back to normal, things are going to get bullish. The thing is, before this war started, the charts were not bullish, right? Crypto was not in a bullish space before Iran, right? This been in a downtrend since, let's be real, it's been in a downtrend since November at the latest, right? Like, if you get down into H12 up in here, it's been a downtrend since October, right? You had an H12 bearish breaker after a weekly SFP up here, right? I know it's not marked out anymore, but this was a weekly SFP with an H12 bearish breaker that took place. So it's been bearish since October. This was peak war, right? This was like, oh shit, the war just broke out. That's what took place here, if I recall correctly. Trump saying he's not going to do some shit for 5 days isn't automatically going to doesn't take away this. Just be mindful of that when you think, oh, headlines. Headlines are great for intraday. They really are. Is it powerful enough to flip a high time frame market trend? It could lead to it, but I wouldn't get overly zealous about it before any concrete price action starts to do that for you. Right now, you're looking at that. What you could say to yourself is, okay, I've had an M15 sweep here. What would I need on M5 to confirm that there's a bearish sweep? Well, there's your M5 breaker right there, right? So if you get a close below that, just short the retest. You could say to yourself, okay, I don't want to wait for the market structure break. I want the market structure sweep because I want to get on board a little bit earlier. It's really not much difference, but I would just wait for the break. It's close enough. That's what you're looking for there on M5, right? Close below that, short a retest. If you're not going to get like an M5 SFP, you may still get an M5 SFP somewhere in here, but it's giving yourself options, right? What options of trades do I have right now at my disposal that I could be on the lookout for? Flip side of that is, okay, am I looking for a long here? Not really, right? Why not? Because we have that daily bearish breaker after the weekly SFP into a monthly level. Why would I want to be getting long into an area that I'm already predisposed to telling myself I'm looking for a short? What would change my mind about that? Well, you kind of had that earlier today, right, with these here. This was the counter trend move. This play here. You even have here. Okay. Say you want to hunt along. You're doing it down here, right? This is your bullish H4 breaker. Why is this the bullish H4 breaker? Well, this was the swing high that created that sweep on H4. Swing high creates that sweep, closed above, confirming the breaker, giving you the market structure break. That's a bullish H4 breaker. So let's pick your poison, right? Daily bearish breaker after a weekly SFP, really high time frame clean signal versus an H4 sweep. Right? It's not even an H12 sweep, it's an H4 sweep. I'm just verifying some things. Yeah, it's an H4 sweep with an H4 bullish breaker confirmed. It's a pick your poison situation. I would rather hunt shorts here, possibly longs here. That's what I see right now. Okay. Let's move this along because we are already an hour deep into this session and we have just looked at BTC. It does look cleaner here on Restream, right? With like the little curved bezels and the crispness of the Rapture face widget, the PFP with the, yeah, I like it. It's similar. It's not that different from StreamYard, but there are little things that make it feel a little bit more complete. let's move along because, man, we're falling behind here. Oh, look at this. See, I just have not looked at a chart. Look at this old levels. Let's pull up ETH. Let's do the same thing. Let's go high time frame. Oh, I would still love it to take this out. I would still love price to take this out, and possibly that. But, you know, and we can see that monthly level we've had marked out for eons, doing what it should. Going to weekly. Okay. Is there any development here on weekly we should be aware of? Like, was there a weekly SFP? No. No weekly SFP, but we did have weekly sweep into that monthly level. Very similar to BTC, just BTC had an SFP on weekly, which is the one difference. We're still within that high time frame, bearish daily range, right? This is the swing high, the swing low that created a lower low on daily, lower low close. It's a bearish daily range right into that area of supply right here. This is daily supply, this whole zone, exactly where it rejected from. Now, what did we say? What do we have on BTC? We had a daily bearish breaker after the weekly SFP. Well, we have a weekly sweep. We have the same, right? Here's the swing low that created that weekly sweep. This is our daily bearish breaker right there. Extend this across. No, get rid of the, oh, Jesus. Get rid of that. We can extend this across. Look at where it's tagging into. Let's update some daily levels. This is no longer relevant. We'll put that there and align that with that, yes, but then realistically it's going to take out that weekly level. Oh my god. Rapture, what are you doing? Wrap. There we go. Okay. Let's just extend some of these along. Okay, there's daily. Bearish daily breaker. Off of the weekly sweep. Do I see anything else? We're into that MSB level. Weekly range quarter is also capping price. Pop it down to H12. Let's bring this back over here and make this visible on current interval and below. There we go. Now we're into H12. This is messy. Let's clean this up. Looks like it front ran that, so that could become relevant. Let's pull this up here. There we go. H12 SFPs inside of the daily bearish breaker. Signal. Setup. Signal, right? Weekly sweep is the signal. Daily bearish breaker is the setup, right? Because we closed below there. Mid time frame signal is the H12 SFP within the daily bearish breaker, right? This is us putting on the inception trade. Oh my goodness, wrap, come on. This is us starting to build that inception trade out. I think, is that a daily level there? I think we get rid of this because it's so close to that weekly level that we negate that, but we keep that one there. There's our H12 levels. Yes, it's starting to get a little bit cloudier than the BTC chart looked, but we want our levels for if or when we get to them, we can react to the price interactions rather than guessing. So this is notable. H12 SFP inside the daily bearish breaker after the weekly sweep. Back to your question, Chaz, about do I only count a breaker if it's an SFP rather than just a sweep? No. You may put a little bit more weight behind the SFP actual, but the trade is the same, right? It's all about what price does at that level, and are you getting a market structure break, realigning lower time frames, right? Like, think of it this way. Our high time frame is bearish. We can trade counter trend the high time frame to reach the next high time frame pivot point. So in this instance, yes, we're saying H12 is the lower time frame compared to the weekly. Right? Its weekly is bearish. No doubt about it. Monthly. It's just massive range, truthfully. But weekly is bearish. Swing high to swing low, lower low. That's a bearish weekly range. Bearish daily range, but you can trade counter trend to the weekly until you hit that inflection point on the higher time frame. So similar, H12, you had lots of opportunity to be bullish, right? You had an H12 SFP here. You know, H12 SFP there, H12, like not all of them worked out, but from an intraday perspective, this is what you want. Well, you have an H12 SFP there. You know, intraday short there. H12 sweep there. That gave that nice pop. Well, now we're putting in an H12 SFP. Or we have put in an H12 SFP. The one thing is, when you close as an SFP and then the next candle violates it again, you're kind of waiting a little bit more for the confirmation, because yes, we can find the okay, well this was obviously the news this morning, right? So how would I look at this right now? I would take, because the market structure break would put you so far down that it's sort of like, you know, a bit of a waste. What you do here is you just grab the market structure shift level, right? And the market structure shift is an internal structure level that is the first swing high or low after the wick of the SFP on lower time frame forms, right? So this is, don't let me say that again, because that was a little bit word solid. On H12, this candle here was an SFP, H12 SFP. We go down to hourly, and we can see here, this was that H12 SFP taking place here. Well, the market structure break level is all the way here. Pretty useless, at least in terms of getting on board the trade early, right? Like if you're waiting for that, likelihood is intraday you're done with that trade and you're just trying to short the bottom. So what you do is, rather than grab the market structure break level, which is the swing low that creates that wick of that high time frame H12 SFP, we wait for the very first swing level after the high time frame SFP. That's a market structure shift level. You need a candle close, right? The swing close, right? It's a 3-candle pattern, high, low, high, including the wick of the middle. That's the swing low. There's your market structure shift level. That's a market structure shift style breaker. Now you're getting sweeps into here again, so we can inception this and see what's taking place here. But again, right, like, are you going to use a market structure shift on top of, like, you want to break at some point. So I don't really like that as a setup, but this is still valid. You get an H1 close below here, retest into there as a short. Let's get back to what we were doing though. Back to H12. So that's our ETH H12 levels. Similar, we have a daily bearish breaker off of the weekly sweep. I kind of want to get rid of some of these, but we're going to leave them. It's where H4 that we need to start cleaning stuff up, right? Like, this is just muddy. Get rid of that. Look at that. Look at how. All right, look at how often that level's been holding. I think maybe we keep. It's so tight in there, though. I'm going to start cleaning some of these off. But we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this. Look at that, even tagged there. Right? Intraday trades all day. Get rid of that. I think we can say to ourselves, we probably, oops, probably keep that one. But this one we get rid of. And we maybe move it up into here. Was that SFP or was that just a no? Oh, but we can see here this morning. Well, like I'm backseat driving here. I'm couch quarterbacking, right? Because this is all after the fact. But you guys know, as the chart progresses, I update these levels in real time. And I just haven't done that in 2 weeks. So we're just seeing what I see right now. This morning, you had an H4 SFP on ETH, right? I mean, it doesn't get cleaner than that. There's your M15 breaker into the H4 SFP. This is the H4 SFP here, closed above, retested into it, even gave you my inception right there, M15 SFP within the M15 bear bullish breaker after the H4 SFP. This is inception. This is Rapture's inception setup, inception trading, like to a T. H4 level gets SFP'd on M15. M15 bullish breaker confirmed with the close above, retest into it, M15 bullish SFP. You buy the SFP. You could level 4 inception this, right? If you just need that much more confirmation to feel good about it. Well, there's the M15 SFP. Here's the M1 bullish breaker. Closed above, the first retest into it, you get more retests into it. Realistically though, if you're going this layered, if you're doing the 4-layer inception trade, just put a limit order on the edge of that box, because you're going to drive yourself nuts in here. And either stop below here or stop below here. But your invalidation is super tight, and you manually watch this. And if it starts coming into here and you're not liking the way price action looks, you can cut and you can wait for like an M1 SFP into here if you wanted. But that's the inception, right? Like that's the inception trade. That's how you catch this, that insane morning pump before the news drops. Right? Like the inception trade is real. It's why I talk about it all the time. H4 SFP. M15 bullish breaker confirmed when it closed above. Retested into it. You've got an M15 bullish SFP. That's this. Into it. And an M1 bullish breaker confirmed. Close above. Retest. Boom. Right? And what you would do here, to make your life easy and not drive yourself nuts, you do 2 things. You can either set your stop to there, enter off the edge of the box, target your 2-to-1, or beyond, depending on how advanced into this strategy you are, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5, whatever you're going to do, and go on with your life. Alternatively, if you want the tighter stop, you use the H1 breaker, you know, and to get yourself 2-to-1, you didn't really have to wait long. All right, you just buy, you limit bid the edge of the box, the edge of the breaker. Now getting an M1 entry, and if you're manually monitoring price action to decide if you want to cut early or not, you can target much more than 2-to-1. You just have to get the reps in to know that, because on that tight of an entry, realistically, 2-to-1 is cutting yourself short. I preach doing 2-to-1 initially because you need to get comfortable with pressing bid and pressing sell and cutting when shit starts to look not in your favor, and also preventing yourself from round tripping. You want to just get comfortable clicking the damn buttons. Okay. Let's pop this back out. Go back to H4. I don't want to spend too much more time here. Okay, there's our H4 levels for ETH. Yes, it's a lot of levels, but we want to be prepared for when price, if and or when price gets down there. You know what I can see is another good one up there, right? There we go. There's our ETH levels. Let's check out Sol. Let's go weekly as well. Any new developments here? Similar to BTC, I can see right here, we put in a weekly SFP. How's everybody doing, by the way? You still with me? You still with me in the chat, everyone? Still with me across Twitter and YouTube? Hope you are. Dropping intel. Right? These opportunities when I haven't been in the charts for a little while are really useful because you see the whole process. Again, haven't looked at these in a while. Levels are outdated, but still, daily range. And still a bearish daily range. Swing high to swing low. There's our daily range extremes. Key levels. Let's see what else we got up in here, right? We took out a weekly range quarter, a monthly level into there with that. I can also see that. It's interesting interactions off that. And we're tagging that too. Look at that. So what I can see right now, we had similar to BTC and ETH, a bearish daily breaker. And similar to BTC, after a weekly SFP. ETH, we just had a sweep. BTC and Sol, we had a weekly SFP, and we're into a bearish daily breaker. I can also see an important level here. We want to monitor what takes place here today at the close. This is some interesting levels here. Probably move this up into here. And maybe bring this one here. Okay, there's our daily levels on Solana. Let's go to H12. Let's clean this up a bit. Oh, same thing as we've been seeing on BTC and ETH is those H12 SFPs. Drag that across. This, it's been getting a lot of interactions, right? Like it. You may want this. This is starting to get a little bit muddier though on this one. Okay, there's our H12 levels. Can't call that a swing level yet because until that candle closes. Let's go to H4. This is where we're going to have to delete and update a lot of stuff. Look at that. Nope, front ran it. But what I do see here is this morning, H4 SFP right there. Look at this. And get rid of that. There's a chance that becomes important. Again. That. Get rid of that. I'll get rid of. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. Okay. There are your Solana levels. Get rid of that. There we go. There we go. That's cleaner. Monitoring this. Let's see if there's a setup here. There she is. M15 bearish breaker into that swept level. You don't quite have it yet unless you are confident in an M1. All right. But I think more importantly is if this SFP is here on M15, which it did not, it just closed above. All right, you see how that closed above, it negated that. So this is where you're watching for a possible short. You also have this H1 SFP that put in here. You're watching in here for a potential short. But in terms of our high time frame levels, there they are on Solana. Let's zoom out to all of them. Are we going to do SPX? Maybe we'll do SPX. Let's just take a quick peek here. So ETH and Solana have some more levels than BTC does. A lot of that is because we've pulled in some more lower levels, but we're looking at similar things. Should we do this real quick? Let's take a look. Interesting, that level, that weekly level we marked out when I first started incorporating SPX into our workflow 3 weeks ago or whenever it was, ended up getting a weekly SFP off of it. Well, there's a H4 breaker. It's not confirmed, right? And you're getting SFPs into that level. If you get an H4 close above there, you've got a counter trend trade on SPX. What's daily like? So daily, I mean, daily you've been putting in MSBs, right? So what can we do here? How can we clean this? This is an ISL. This is the daily swing high. Possibly the swing low, we don't know yet. This was an MSB here. Get rid of that. So since weekly broke down from, I mean, look at, right? We closed below that. This is when we started tracking SPX. I said if we close below that level on weekly, it's broken structure. Retested into it, and boom. Pretty solid analysis, Rapture. Pretty solid analysis. We can get rid of that range quarter for now because it's not currently in play. We're possibly going to be dropping this out like this, right? So that was that bearish daily breaker off the weekly SFP. Let's see, is it even still valid? I think it's displaced away from it already. We can get rid of this. There we go. Clean it up a bit. See what we're working with. I can get rid of that. There's some immediate SPX levels we're working with. Down to H12. Get rid of that. I mean, we cleaned up quite a bit there now on SPX. Oh, I don't know what that was. So you have a possibility for a weekly SFP H4 bullish breaker. Like, it's probably already confirmed on H1, but that move was so big. I think now that we're up into here, you just wait for the H4 to confirm. Why is Solana not loading? Or ETH. What is going on here? What is happening? M5 SFP on BTC happening right now within the M15 breaker. But it negated. So one thing it did was it negated that M5 breaker, which had never confirmed actually, but you are getting, as you said, Jesus, Rap, what are you doing? You are getting, as you said, that M5 SFP within there. As Chaz just pointed out. H1, no, sorry, M15, bearish breaker. It's actually an M15 level that's getting SFP. So because it's M15 and we're less than halfway through that candle, yes, the M5 is confirmed. I would wait on this because it's an M15 level. See what happens here. Or you do that whole inception thing. M1 close below there. I mean, it's starting to look like this is a short. Good call out, Chaz. There she go. So, you know, 30 seconds until this closes. I personally would just wait for the candle to close and see what happens, because this pulls back up into here and SFP is that level, then you're still waiting for the MSB. It's not looking bad though. And from here, it's, do you set the limit off the edge of the box, stop up there? You leave your stop up here, that's up to you and what you're comfortable with. If you put a hard stop here and give yourself room for manual stops through here, you give yourself more leeway. You know where your hard stop is. So you know that, okay, I'm not going to lose more than whatever you put your max risk per trade. Say it's 1%, 2%, 0.5%, whatever you standardize your max risk per trade. That's a personal decision that you need to decide. If you put a hard stop here and you give yourself the leeway and ability to manual stop yourself out, if you're disciplined enough to do that, well, then take the trade with that as your stop. If price starts to come up into here and you close above this, just close early and wait for the next setup. So that way you're only losing a fraction of your max drawdown or your max risk per trade, and you can give yourself more stabs at it. That's how I like to operate. So it did confirm this M1 here. You are still waiting for this M15 to confirm the SFP, but the M5 has confirmed. And you've gotten an M1 MSB. So the trade from here, giving yourself the hard stop level from there, you enter off the ledge of the box. If you're just going to static 2 to 1, it's there. All right. Or if you can target down into the breaker the bullish H4 breaker that we outlined, right? That's what this is. That's what this is. All right, so you short from here, look for the long from here. This is a trade right here. If it starts getting above here and closes above here, and especially if the M15 doesn't close as the SFP, just cut early and you lose not much out of what you're actual risking. That's the whole thing about being fluid, right? With 4 minutes to go on that candle for the M15 SFP to confirm as an SFP, the amount that the difference you stand to gain versus not is minimal, that you may just say to yourself, wait for that SFP to close. But you can see here, sweeping that level again. Setup is valid for intraday. Okay, lads. Well, what have we done? Let's bring this over here. We went through our high time frame levels and strategy. All right, we dove down into what the low time frame execution looks like. I didn't give a specific strategy. That's not true because we outlined our bearish breakers. We know that high time frame, we're leaning more towards hunting shorts than longs. Excuse me. We looked at BTC, ETH, and SOL. You know what we did not do? We didn't do high time frame weekly SFPs. Where are we at right now? We're at an hour and a half. I kind of want to wrap this up, but you know what? We'll do it really, really, really quickly. We'll do it really, really quickly. Just to see what there was from a high time frame SFP's perspective. Here we go. Where is my high time frame swing screener pro? There we go. We're going to switch this to, let's take a look and see what Hyperliquid was saying. Alert, weekly SFP, true. Put this on the 1 minute and scan. We are going to adjust this for, well, let's just see what we had going on here. BTC had the weekly SFP. We know that. We just saw it. SOL as well. Hype put in a weekly SFP. Okay, that's interesting. Sui, you know what, guys? Take a screenshot of this. We can see here all the coins that had a weekly SFP. We are Cerebro, throwback, not even a million 24-hour vol. What we'll do, let's just put this up. Let's put the 50 million minimum 24-hour threshold, 24-hour volume threshold. There is your, wow. Is Atom just a dead coin? Does no one at all trade that? And it's a USD.P. That's interesting. I don't even know what pair that is. Okay. Here are your coins that put in weekly SFP above 50 mil 24-hour volume. This is on Hyperliquid. Let me also just say that these are Hyperliquid, and I haven't updated the Hyperliquid list in a hot minute, so there may be coins missing. But here are coins, right, that put in weekly SFPs. Let's just take a look at Hype real quick. Why is it? Okay. Share this tab instead. Let's switch that. Let's go to the weekly setup board. Okay. Well, there it is. Okay. Well, lads, our weekly bullish breaker after the monthly SFP play played the fuck out. Booyah. So here is the weekly SFP that is talking about on Hype. Weekly SFP also swept the weekly range quarter. This is still valid. We've flipped this area of supply. We can get rid of that. So weekly SFP up into here. What would I be looking for here now? Oh, this is no longer. Here, put this here. This was your bullish daily range. This is becoming, right? Like this is the weekly SFP here. Weekly SFP. There's no, you have a market structure shift style breaker right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. We'll leave our weekly breaker there. Extend this across. We have a market structure shift style bearish breaker here on hype. Did it confirm? Yes, it did. It confirmed when it closed below yesterday. Weekly SFP, daily bearish market structure break, shift style breaker. Now, on H12, it was a market structure break style bearish breaker. Retested into it. But we're going to leave this daily zone boxed out. You know, this is probably a decent short into here. Super aggressive bidders into the weekly levels. H4 SFPs into here. Get rid of this now. Look, you're holding the bullish moving averages though, right? 50, 100, 200, 300. When they're aligned like that, it is a bullish trend. When it goes lowest, shortest to longest in terms of averages, that's bullish alignment. I can't not see though that it put in a weekly SFP and an H12 bearish breaker. You know, things that I can't unsee. With that as well, H4 SFPs into that bearish breaker. Oh my goodness, I haven't talked this long in a while. Throat's starting to get dry. Okay, lads. Apologies for that. Anything else on this that looks interesting? Sol, we saw the weekly bearish SFP, BTC, hype, SUI. I haven't looked at that coin in forever. Screenshot this. I'll also share this list. Let's see if there's any. Let's see what's going on Lighter. Same thing. Aster put in a weekly SFP, ENA, Link, some other similar coins, right? Let's see on Breakout, similar list of coins. This keeps popping up because why? No, not. Nope, that's not what I wanted. What's the... Nope. Nope. There's a command to add a chart. Oh, is it Option W? There it is. Okay. This should be breakout and hyperliquid. There we go. Okay, let's rescan that again. And okay, well, let's just kind of drag it on here. Let's wrap this up. I need to delete a lot of coins off of this because they obviously have zero volume on the Bing X list. Wild. I have to figure out what's going on here. Okay, lads. Started to get lost in a train of thought there. Well, I do appreciate everyone who joined me back for the return of the live sessions, Rapture, Scalp, and Swing sessions number 21, where our focus is on process, patience, and execution. We did a little lunch levels today. We took a little lunch levels. Just a little lunch levels. Our high time frame levels across BTC ETH, Sol. We looked at hype as well, which some weekly SFPs that took place, discussed some strategy. Don't forget, if you're looking for a new exchange to do your perps trading, go to bingx.com, use code Rapture for sign up bonuses. And on that, I am out. Catch you lads soon. Ciao.